Alright, let's see, unobserved fire and other topics. In scenario 4, Tula of Iron Cross by 3W. So at this point we're in the 5th phase of the German player turn of game turn 1. German player being the first player by scenario. And the 5th phase is the defensive fire phase. Basically that's when the non-phasing player gets to open fire if eligible. Lots of little things have happened. Still such a great game. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to introduce this video with. On the one hand, I'm sure I'm probably overthinking some aspects of the design here for sure, but that aside, I still think this design is a brain burner in a very, very, very good way. Okay, something I said in an earlier video, I was trying to figure out in an earlier video whether the first shots of the scenario, first shots of the scenario had been fired, necessitating performance checks for movement. And this is exactly why I use all these markers. I had forgotten. I should have just looked around. I should have just looked right here. I should have looked here and noticed the information marker here, taken a look, and I would have seen that this unit under here, as a matter of fact, specifically, Felipe with his light machine gun had already attempted to open fire in the 2nd phase. So that would have told me that the first shots had already been fired. And that's why I use all the information markers, so that I can keep track from play session to play session, because otherwise I would never remember. Not only would I never remember who had fired, I would definitely not remember when they fired, since that is still relevant to the game and to the design. Then this is the order that I'm talking about this stuff, not necessarily the order that stuff was played, but over here I have my AFV, my tank, specifically my Panzer IV-E number 1. The crew has a proficiency of 8. 8 buttoned up, 9 I'm sorry. Open hatch. Crew has a proficiency of 9. Buttoned up, they have a proficiency of 8, which makes perfect sense. That their relative proficiency as the crew would go down if they're buttoned up. I moved them over here. Now again I remember this is definitely something that I should probably, as much as I like this game, I should probably just write up my own turn sequence summary. That way I can add stuff that I know is missing from the turn sequence summary. The turn sequence summary definitely should note that when you get to your movement phase, it should be AFVs move first. AFVs that are moving by themselves go first. You have to do all those first. Then you have to move, then if you have it, you move AFVs that are moving with infantry. There is a rule mechanism for infantry moving along with an AFV. And then lastly, you move all your remaining infantry and crewed weapons. So I did that out of order. So this AFV moving alone actually should have gone first. They moved up here. Of note, they paid more in train cost being buttoned up. Here's another thing about being buttoned up that I remember that I was browsing recently. If an AFV is suppressed, so yeah, if an AFV is suppressed, it must remain in the down or buttoned up state for the rest of the game, signifying the death of the tank commander, death or incapacitation of the tank commander. I'm sorry, to specify, no. If you get an eliminated result using AP fire, anti-personnel fire, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, you can use AP fire against tanks, and if you get an eliminated result, it does not destroy the tank, but it does. Then it is treated as suppressed, and it must remain in the down position, buttoned up position for the rest of the game. Okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool, the little detail. That's all the little detail that I really like. Alright, so what else? What else was going on here? Here I had a case where light machine gun here. This is another case, I think. Yeah, this light machine gun fired opportunity fire against some moving Germans. They got the observation. That's the C here. They got the observation, but oh yeah, that's these dice right here. They rolled 5 for the observation, which was good, and then they rolled boxcars for the PC check, and failed. So again, they observed but didn't actually fire. Had that happen again. Over here, yeah, over here is a case where, so this is obviously the 5th phase, the current phase, the defensive fire phase. These guys opened up on a target over here, off the screen right here. It's right there. But it was some Germans in the down state, but they were behind some trees, and so they didn't even come close to, they didn't get the observation, didn't get the observation, which made it unobserved fire, which means that they had essentially no chance, and they did not roll, they were not lucky enough with their rolls against the 2 German targets in their target hex. What else? This is going to be intensive for observation. So I say that because, you know, I was stringing. As a matter of fact, I was stringing the line of sight right this way. Right here like this. Right between these houses here. And I noticed that it crossed this line here, which I'm assuming is some type of wall. Okay, in this game, the walls aren't counted a lot, are not counted at all in game terms. But boy, it would be interesting if you did play with all of these, because there are all of these wall type drawn graphics. There are quite a few of them, but in game terms, I don't think that they play anything. And when I was thinking again about when I was stringing the line of sight here, I was thinking they probably are not very tall walls. But now that I think about it, you know, a unit that's down behind a marsh is obscured. So I wonder if you couldn't play that if the line of sight crosses one of these walls and the target is down, then it's obscured. But it's not obscured if it's up. I don't know. The other thing is I do need to figure out all these what look like blasted trees, because I was thinking of firing with this rifleman straight down the road here, and for that I got to figure out how to treat these blasted tree symbols. So I need to do that. What else? Oh yeah, the light machine gun. Which one? This one? Which one? No, not that one. Oh, all sorts of things to remember. All sorts of things to remember. I think I actually see. Yeah. When you have your machine guns, especially fire, you got to remember to mark off the ammo, because later you won't necessarily remember whether it was whether the unit actually fired or not. So great game, great game.